Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to #Flint with Shayne Hodges. And today I have a very special guest, Dr. Karen Weaver. And today we're here to find out a little bit more about Karen Weaver as a person and as a hopefully future leader of this city and things of that nature. So let's get started, Karen.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here with you today.
Thanks for coming. And yeah, it's just I'm a little intimidated by your presence because I know all the things you've accomplished, and that's what I think some of the viewers would like to know. Let's just jump right into it and start talking about Karen Weaver and who you really are and all about you.
Well, actually, I was born and raised here in Flint, so I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Flint. I've worked here. My husband is from Flint, raised my family here. My parents were here, so I'm a person that's not going. I'm not leaving Flint. But as far as what I've been doing, I would like to just say that I started off in a private practice. I worked at my Children's Health Center for almost 20 years. I was director of behavioral services the last 10 years, so I was the department head. I was part of the management team. And to be part of the management team, you had to be very, very disciplined. At that time, Mott had a net worth of about $200 million. So while we had a lot of money, you had to be fiscally responsible because it's easy to spend. So I had to know about finances and budgeting and personnel issues and how to sit down and negotiate and work with other agencies and organizations to bring services to children and families in Flint and Genesee County and how to make things happen. I was chief of operations at Ennis Center for Children. I did that for a couple of years. Once again, having to utilize those same skills and strengths that I know make me a good leader. I was going to say, actually, my husband and I have 2 small businesses here in the city of Flint. He's had Weaver Family Dentistry. He took that over from his dad, and he's been able to keep those doors open for 30 years. And so 3 years ago, we started a new small business in Flint called Shayne Boutique, where we sell natural hair, skin, and body products. So I've had small business experience as well. I've been involved in the community. I'm on the Hurley Board of Managers, the Community Foundation Board, Priority Children. I used to be the Freedom Fund Chair for the Flint Branch NAACP, and I was on the Flint Institute of Arts Board. So I've been really, really involved in Flint and my community. And so the last 25 years, I've been busy.
Yes,
I have been busy trying to make things happen, in a positive direction for the children and the citizens of Flint.
With your operations, were you just administrative, or did you work with the children and the people as well?
I did both. I did both. I started off because I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I'm a child and family psychologist. So I started off providing direct services. And I as I continued up, on my career path, I got into administration, and that was when I was able to, eventually become department head and make decisions as far as the services that children and families in our area needed.
Okay. Yeah, because, personally, one of my opinions about the city of Flint and all the problems we have with violence and things of that nature is the mental health aspect of it. Mm-hmm. And I just think that, having that in-depth experience with, you've seen inside the homes of some of these families and how they, the dynamics really are. So, these are some of the problems that I think are never really addressed. We talk about more funding for police, but those are some of the things that I think are very important. The family structure and the children. Of course, the children, that's the city's future. So, with that being said, we wanted to talk about some of the things with public safety and, all these issues that we're hearing, because I think we have a really bad label as one of the most violent cities in America. And, the people that I know in Flint, they don't reflect that at all. What do you think about that?
We do have some issues and some challenges with public safety. If you look at, well, that's just one of them, but if you look at some of the things, some of the challenges we face, it's water, it's public safety, it's housing, it's our schools. So the list goes on and on. So public safety is right up there,
Yes.
After the water, public safety was the top issue. And we do have some challenges and some things that we need to address there. One of the things I'm proud to say is I did get the endorsement from the Police Officer Association.
Yes,
and so thank you. I'm really proud of that, and I'm honored because I sat and talked with them about what their concerns are, some of the things they'd like to see happen for the city of Flint when we're looking at crime, and how we can work together to solve some of those issues, because we do need to do some things differently. Some things are major and long term, some things we can do quickly and are short term. And when you put those together, I think that will bring about the changes that we need to see. If you look at public safety, I remember like something small but very significant. As I've been walking through the streets, I've heard people say that are paying taxes, we don't have lights. It's dark. Well, how do you not have lights in a city with such crime and violence? When the police go into that area, if a crime has been committed, if the people that live there can't see, the police officers can't see, how can they be safe to do their job? So we need to address that. Something else that's small but very significant is the tall grass. How do you know when you're going there, somebody's not hiding in that grass that hasn't been cut? So there are some of those kinds of things that we could do immediately. Something else that we need to look at, and it's something that we had been doing previously, and it was something that has been proven not only to work in Flint but other places throughout the United States, was community policing. And that's something that we used to do, and that's something we need to look at again. Yes. We need to look at that. But there's also, we need to get a really, really strong grant writer, because there are so many funds out there that are available for police officers, and not only police, but for police and fire, especially for a city like Flint. There's federal money that's available where they could get the equipment that they needed, the new equipment that they need, so they can be safe doing their jobs to help keep us safe. That money's out there. We need to go after it aggressively, and I haven't seen that done. That's something we should be doing.
Yes.
That's something we should be doing.
Yes, it is, because it's something that amazes me in the city that we're talking about right now, Flint. While we slumber at night, there's only 3 officers on the street.
Right. That needs to be
sense.
Corrected. That needs to be addressed, because they need things in order to protect us.
Yes, they do.
And they have to be able to do their jobs as safely as possible and with the equipment that they need, so they can protect us, because we look at them to protect and serve. And if they don't have what they need to do their jobs, what can we expect? So, I'm looking forward to working with them, to saying, okay, what is it you'd like to have happen? How do we give you all what you need, give you the resources, the staffing that they need to be able to do their jobs? I hate that because we've got the crime issues that we have, Flint has become a training ground for police officers. They can come here and get trained, but then they don't stay because they can go someplace else, make more money, and it's less violent. Right. And so we have to stop that turnover, that cycle, and we have to give our police department what they need to be able to be efficient and effective doing their job, and keep those great Flint police officers here with us.
Yes, we do, because they have such a long, outstanding history, and to see them in such shambles and disarray, it just doesn't make sense to, me, longtime resident. I don't, they've always been here. It was a lot more, I rarely see a traffic stop, and these are some of the things that are missing, and it's all a part of this puzzle that just is incomplete, and it's been that way for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so much that can be done on the local level that is not being done, I feel like.
Right. So I'm really looking forward to working with them and speaking up and speaking out for them to make sure certain things happen.
Yes. And, and I've spoken to a few officers myself, and I think that's one of the biggest things. They don't feel represented. And to have that non-confidence vote against, the mayor and things like that, that just speaks volumes to me. Mm-hmm. So, and In other news, I've been dying to ask you, we just had this big decision yesterday, big press conference, and I just wanted to know, what do you think about it? The big news, we're switching back to Detroit water. What do you think? Right,
I'm happy about it. I'm
Yes.
ecstatic about it, because that's one of the things that I've been talking about, and I never changed my view and opinion about that. One of the things I've talked about is always we needed to go back to Detroit. And I wasn't the only person talking about that. The Water Coalition was talking about that. There were a group of our citizens that fought long and hard trying to get their voices heard. The concerned pastors have been talking about it. And so I'm really happy, because it's about what's best for our kids and the people that live here in the city of Flint. I wish it had happened sooner. And it should have happened sooner. And that's the issue, is people knew as soon as that switch had taken place, the water didn't look right, it didn't smell right, it didn't taste right. They had issues with skin, hair falling out, your clothes would smell when you washed them. So people knew immediately that there was something wrong with this water, and people began crying out over a year ago. A year and a half ago.
The protest started a month
it started,
after
and so it shouldn't have taken that long. I know if I went to my doctor, if you went to your doctor and said, I've got these different issues going on, the doctor wouldn't say everything's fine, just continue on.
Right.
Everything's fine.
Exactly.
The doctor wouldn't say that. The doctor would run a number of tests, check your blood. I'm going to do an X-ray, an MRI. I'm going to, do all kinds of things.
He would believe
Take
you.
samples of,
Right.
And none of that happened. None of that happened. And it wasn't until, the people had been crying out. But then we have Virginia Tech come through. And they had to be, they were almost ridiculed at some point,
Yes, they were.
saying
They
that
were.
certain people brought them in to give this information.
How were the samples collected?
Exactly.
Was the attack.
And their results, they attempted to dismiss their results and their findings. And so it was really nice that the medical community had been doing these tests as well, and they came and spoke up and spoke out. I know when I had a press conference in between, because I even knew, let me take my political hat off, I'm speaking out as a licensed clinical psychologist and having an ethical responsibility to discuss this public health, mental health issue, because we know the damage that lead can do on our young children and how that damage is irreversible. So people have been crying out for a long, long time. So I'm happy. I'm happy that the switch has taken place. It saddens me that it took so long, because damage has been done, and it's damage we can't do anything about.
Irreversible.
It's irreversible, and the cost on the human, what it's done to kids and their development. We can't replace that. We can't. All we can do now is wait and see, and give them the necessary supports that they're going to need as a result of the lead poisoning that they received.
Yeah, because the first thing that comes to my mind when we're talking about this is that there was 16 months that those kids were going to school, and they were playing sports, and they were drinking as much water to try to stay hydrated.
And some people thought that boiling it would make it better, and that made it worse. You think about the senior citizens that have been ingesting this water. You think about people that have kidney issues on dialysis, all kind of,
So many people.
Exactly.
It's just amazing.
And we may not know for years
The
damage. I mean, how do you know? You don't fit in those categories, Shayne, but how do you know it hasn't taken 5, 6, 7 years off your life or my life?
Right.
How do we know that?
And that's scary. And one of the things that you say is, when you go to the doctor and you explain you're having these symptoms, he doesn't say, you're just making that up. It's no big deal. Just continue on with the program. That's not what happens in the real world. But somehow in Flint, things got messed up. And I know I personally would like my leader, when he's facing a problem, to say, I want to help you. I want to help you. Let's find out if this is true or not, and let's work on this problem together. Not, all the way into you corner them into a corner, finally say, oh, okay, I give up.
Right.
That's something that we've seen a lot of in this city, and that's what I wanted to ask you. So, after the election's over and everything goes as planned for you and your campaign, what is Flint going to look like under Karen Weaver?
The first thing, and I've talked about this a lot also, because I do believe there's been a lot of the citizens have lost faith and trust and confidence in leadership, and that's something that I've always talked about wanting to restore. I want to be honest with people. I want to be transparent with people. So I don't want to say that all of these things I'm going to do, because what I'd like to do when I get in there is to sit down with the department heads, go through the budget, see what's there, because I can't give an honest, realistic picture about, I don't want to say I'm going to do 7 things and then really I can do 4 of them. And so I want to get in there and see what's going on. I want to see what kind of money we do have, and then come out and tell people, okay, here's where we are and here's what we can do realistically. So I think that requires going in there and meeting with the people that are in those department head positions. It means looking at that budget closely. It may mean doing an audit to see where the funds are. That might be something that has to be done. I'd like to sit down with the union leaders as well, because I'm not going to go in making decisions just based on me. I want to put together a qualified, capable, competent team to help me make the decisions that need to be made to move Flint forward. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing. But I really want to let people know that if I tell you it's A, that it really is A. So I do want to work on restoring that hope and that faith and that trust and that confidence back in leadership. I think that's very, very important, because you can't get people to follow you if they don't believe you.
Exactly, and I believe you. I believe you and agree 100%, because in today's Michigan it's a little different, and that leads me to my next question: is how do you feel that? Do you feel that we're really out of emergency management with this whole situation that's going on, or are we still under control and it's, you never know who's making the decision about, your future?
Well, you're right on both of those. It doesn't seem like we're out from under emergency manager. I know the emergency manager is gone. We have a city administrator. And really, I should say, we have that position in place. So there's still somebody from the state kind of telling us what to do. And that the contract for that is 5 years. That's longer than the mayor's term. How does that happen? Well, that's something that the state put in. And so it feels like we're under emergency manager law still.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because nothing's been changed with our charter. We still have a strong mayor form of government. And it was funny that you said who's in charge, because blame gets shifted all the time. Sometimes it's the mayor that makes the decision. Sometimes it's the city administrator. Then you find out, oh no, the previous emergency manager made that decision. Oh no, it wasn't them, it was the governor. And so it's almost like they're playing hot potato and they just keep tossing it around.
And all the while, the citizens of Flint are just feeling the effects.
Exactly.
In a negative way.
In a negative
never
way.
Never a positive way. It's never a mistake, too much money handed out, or too many people got paid that week. It's always something that really hurts. Schools closed, or we're taking away after school programs and things like that were a part of this city, because that it's kind of leading me into my next questions, because when I was growing up in the city of Flint, one of the biggest things that we were proud of was our schools. Your school pride, it wasn't where you live or it's what school did you go to. So let's talk about the schools, and I understand you're a Viking.
Yes, I am.
So you went to Northern. I went to Hamilton. I'm a Hawk. So
okay.
I'm just outside. But, that's something that I'd like to see come back. And, under Karen Weaver.
That school pride.
That school pride.
And that's been difficult. It's been difficult for the schools. And while the mayor's office isn't responsible for the community school system, I do know that we have a moral obligation to do things that support our community school system. And, if I can do my job, if leadership can do their job, then that should enhance the school system. If we can address the issues of crime, if we can revitalize, or maybe I should say stabilize and revitalize our neighborhoods and give people places to live in those communities that are by the schools, we can do something to help those schools, because right now we're losing people from the city of Flint quickly. And schools get money based on the number of students that they have attending their school. And so we've got to keep those neighborhoods around those schools anchored.
Strong.
That's exactly right. And we've got to build those up. So if we can address, we've got the water thing, even though there's still going to be an infrastructure issue, but we've got the water coming back. If we can address the crime in our neighborhoods and do things that will strengthen
Yes.
Flint like that, get businesses coming in, then that will help our community school system. So I see myself partnering with them, saying, okay, what can we do? How do we work together to strengthen the community school system, to keep kids in the school, to make people want to come to Flint and attend those schools? So I see that as a great opportunity to work with them to try to enhance the school system.
And I believe that's what it's going to take to bring us back. We need to pool our resources and have the best of the best that the city has to offer to produce things for the city. A Flint for Flint, basically. Of course we need businesses to come in and invest with us, but first we have to take care of ourselves and our own. And I think one of the big things is, and I know you spoke of it before, small businesses and funding the local people, because like we all know, it's tough right now. But if we can nourish, the entrepreneurs and the little businesses around town, that's going to be the little kindling to the fire that gets started to, build the city back to the great city it was. Because I believe in Flint, you can do anything. That's what's been lovely about it, and I think that's what's going to keep it alive. So
I agree with you.
There's a lot of things that we can take care of, but that's the point. We have to take care of ourselves first. Our city needs to be number one priority. And, believe me, I love downtown and everything, but we need to see downtown all around town, on all sides of town. And that's one of the things that, into my next question, it has a lot to do with the morale of the city and things like that, because we're less than 30 days away from election time, and that's what I want to know. What do you think the voter turnout's going to be like?
We have had so many things happen to us. I hope people are really taking note, because people need to come out and vote. People need to come out and vote. You see how important your voice can be. I think people have forgotten that one voice makes a difference, and when you keep adding those voices together, that in number we have strength and we have power, because it was those voices coming together about the water.
Yes.
It was the voice of the citizens. It was the voice of Virginia Tech. It was the voice of the medical community, the voice of the kids. But all of those combined pushed our elected officials to have to do something. And so I hope people are recognizing that our voice does matter, and that they will come out and recognize how important local politics are in your everyday life.
Yes.
They play a major role in what happens to you every single day. And we can't continue to let other people make decisions for us and about us, and when we don't come out and vote, that's exactly what happens. And so people need to come out and vote. They need to bring people to the polls. You need to get involved in your local politics.
Yeah, because it affects everything from the number of students in your classroom to how many buses are running through the city. All these little things that affect our lives daily, they're so important, and we need to continue to stay involved. And I would like to take an opportunity to thank all the advocates, what are you fighting for, and everyone who made a stand for the city. Virginia Tech, Dr. Mark Edwards, and Hurley Hospital, and everyone that just wouldn't let them stop them, because they were tried to stop them, but it just didn't happen. And I'd like to say thank you to everybody who fought for us. So, and it's been, doing everything, being involved in the city so much, it's been so nice, because it seems like the city is coming alive, and people are starting to become aware. They're tired of it. They're sick and tired of being prisoners in their own homes.
Right, and we shouldn't be. We've had, there's been some failed leadership.
Yes.
There's been failed leadership that's been making decisions for us, making decisions for us. That's what it's been. And that needs to stop. It's time for a change. We need people that are concerned about the city of Flint, that want to see things better, want to see things different. You need somebody that's going to speak up for us.
Exactly. They need to make those, like you just said, they need to make the decisions for us, not something that's going to hurt us and worrying about 50 years down the line, because we need help now.
We need help now. That's exactly right.
And it's great, this election. I hope everybody gets out and gets to vote and expresses their voice whichever way they feel. And it's a beautiful thing, democracy, and we need to have our city back. We don't need control from any other entity in the state. We need our Flint police to be strong, our Flint fire to be strong, and our mayor to be strong. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And I feel like it's a very important time in the city right now, because I don't know if everybody knows, but you're on the verge of making history. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, you know what? That hadn't crossed my mind until somebody pointed it out to me. When I decided to run for mayor, I wasn't thinking about making history. And actually, I was running because I thought I was the best candidate. I believe I'm the best candidate, the most qualified, capable candidate to help make the changes that Flint needs to have. So I hadn't thought about that.
Yes, you
until
will be the very
later
first
on.
female mayor in the history of Flint. Since 1855, there has not been one woman in control. And we've seen in Burton, they have a woman for a mayor, and Flint Township has a woman for a mayor. So I think it's our turn. And
well,
my
I hope so,
personal
since
beliefs,
it's me.
right, exactly. My personal beliefs. I believe that you have the common sense and the compassion to take our city back and take control and bring it back to, the Flintstones. Mm-hmm. This is our city.
This is our city.
We don't deserve to have it broken apart and taken away from us, because, going back in history, the sit-down strikers, they started all this. They're the ones that stood up. And I feel like it's our time now to continue that fight and stand up, because we all see what's happening is wrong. And I believe that everybody deserves to be in Flint, whether you have a large income and you own businesses, or you're just making it and you're taking care of your family week to week. You still belong here. You're a part of this city, and we all need to have that recognition and feel comfortable and believe in our leadership and not have to worry.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
These are some of the things, and so I just want to give you an opportunity to wrap up. Is there anything you would like to tell everybody out there? And
you know what? I want people to come out and vote. I'm asking for people's support. I want them to come out and vote for me. I'm not trying to do this by myself. I know that together we can make change. Together we can do this. So I just am asking for your support. I think it's time that, like you said, we make Flint different. We make Flint look different. We have some different statistics about Flint, because Flint can be great. I believe Flint can be great. I still believe in Flint, just like you said. And I know we can look differently. I know we can be better. But we can't expect different results with the same leadership.
Right, the definition of insanity. You can't expect different results doing the same thing, electing the same people over and over.
There needs to be, and we need some accountability, and that's what I'm looking forward to bringing, is accountability back to City Hall.
Yes, definitely. A little more transparency. We don't feel like, the citizens don't need to be the bad guys.
Right.
We need to be the partners.
Right.
And
we need to be proud of Flint.
Yes, we do.
There was a time where we were really, really proud, and we can be proud again. And it doesn't have to be that we have these high crime rates and we've had this bad water and our schools are closing and our neighborhoods are not being rebuilt and grocery stores leaving. There are some things that we can put in place to make Flint shine again. And that's what I'm looking forward to doing. And I just wanted to say that.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Weaver. Good luck.
Thank you.
I know God is good, and the best thing's going to happen that's supposed to. So thanks for coming on, and hopefully after the election's over, we can get you back in and talk a little bit more about everything. And
that sounds good to me.
Turns out. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thanks.